So I'm gonna take 2 minutes and explain to you why we mix in mono. As you may remember, in the from the mono versus stereo section, as you may remember from the mono versus stereo section, uh, that stereo is two channel. We record in mono, but we perceive audio in stereo. All right. Now here's my main mixer. Here's my main master channel, which is like everything goes through here, right? And here is again the same thing. So I click this gets enabled, and I unclick this, of course this gets enabled and disabled. So why would we mix in mono? Yeah. So why would we mix in mono? So why would we mix in mono to begin with when we perceive audio in stereo? The thing is, when you are हाँ माँ, नहीं नहीं कर लो कर लो, अच्छा ठीक है, ठीक है मैं थोड़ा रिकॉर्ड कर रहा हूँ, नहीं कर लो ऐसा कुछ नहीं, ओके ओके थैंक यू. So why do we record in mono to? So why do we mix in mono to begin with? So what I want you to understand is that everything that I've taught you, from the looping, the making and markings, all of these things, is that so that we don't make the mistakes to begin with. So when you are kind of mixing in mono, it's something like this, right? It's a flat surface, it's like this, but in reality, if you move it around, you have this. But right now, let's take the dimensions to just be like this. So something, when something is flat, we can pan it left and we can pan it right. But the thing is, in mono, that perception won't be felt as if the thing is shifting from left to right. In mono, we will feel that the volume is getting lower and somewhere around it is moving somewhere. So I'll give you an example right now. All right. Now let's look at, we've now first let's listen. This is not, leveling is not done. In the next lesson we will do leveling, but let's just listen to the whole mix in stereo first, which is the normal way that we perceive music, even though when however it comes out from any medium, whether in a car or listening to headphones or something. So this is how it normally sounds. प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है, अरे हाँ 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 जरूरी है, तेरे जैसे मिलना मुश्किल है, अरे हाँ 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 मुश्किल है. Alright, so that was the whole thing in stereo. Now let's enable mono and let's see what happens. प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है, अरे हाँ 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 जरूरी है, तेरे जैसे मिलना मुश्किल है, अरे. And now let me disable it and show you the difference. प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है, अरे हाँ 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 जरूरी है, तेरे जैसे मिलना मुश्किल है. All of a sudden you saw that explosion of sound, right? Because it's going from mono, like flat, like ooh, taking volume and space, length and breadth in the mix itself, which is quite funny why it happens and how it happens. But the way that we're going to manipulate this is, okay, now let's look. I'm gonna mono this, right? And I'm gonna start giving you examples of what I mean and why especially panning and volume is so important. And now what we're going to do is gonna take this its chorus. प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है. Right? Now this is in mono. You won't feel the difference in stereo. Why? Because it's completely dead in the center. Right, now let's listen to this. प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है, अरे हाँ 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 हाँ. So the first thing that we're looking at, or that I'm looking at, is that, or let's now look at the other guitar chorus, electric and guitar chorus. See, again, you need to name the files so that now I know exactly that I'm looking for chorus, right? Now let's not pan them. and listen to them.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ 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 जरूरी
Sounds right, that was like, that sounds odd, but that because I hadn't enabled mono. Now let's enable mono.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ 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 हाँ
So now let's first hear one guitar chorus electric, right, chords with this, and what we're going to do is we're going to listen to them in stereo with no panning. So now let's take away the panning of everything, and so now let's take away the panning of everything. So now what I'm going to do is going to take guitar chorus electric, this is chords, right, and this is why the naming also comes into play. What I'm going to do is going to take away the panning, or I will sit down and make panning as a way in leveling in the next lesson. But now I'm going to solo this, so I just hear the voice chorus and the voice this guitar chorus with the chords, right, and I am going to enable mono.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ 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 हाँ
This is just an example, but I'll tell you from the get-go that that guitar sounds too loud for my taste. I'm gonna
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ 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 जरूरी है
There's also an EQ problem, which we'll talk about again later. But now we are in mono, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep shifting the panning to the left. So let's try with a little bit left.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ 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 जरूरी है तेरे जैसे मिलना मुश्किल है अरे हाँ 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 मुश्किल है
So now what I've essentially done, I've set up the levels and the panning a little bit. I just want to show you the power of mono mixing, right? And now I'm gonna remove the this thing from here, from the guitar chorus, and I'm gonna take the volume away as well. I'm gonna solo this again. Now listen. Now all of a sudden that is too loud. First of all, bring it down.
प्यार में खुश रहना
And then by little, I'll start bringing it up till I hear what I want to hear in the terms of levels.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ हाँ हाँ
Now I'm going back and forth with this, so but basically I do want the vocals to be a little less loud because I want the master mix also. But now let's look at the panning.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ
You might have heard, if not, it's okay, you're a complete beginner, so that's completely fine if you didn't. But the more I make it pan, the less louder it becomes, right? So the levels go down.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी
But now I feel like the chords, the electric chords, are too quiet, so I'm going to increase them just a little bit.
प्यार में खुश रहना
Now they're too loud.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ 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 जरूरी है
Right. So I feel this is very good for now, the levels and the panning. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to explode the audio. When I explode, in the sense, you'll feel that mono field become stereo and just like take a life of its own. All right, let's hear this.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ 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 जरूरी है तेरे जैसे मिलना मुश्किल है
Now in stereo, the reason that I'm going back and forth, I feel like this guitar is a bit too quiet, so I'm going to increase it.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ 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 हाँ
And now we go back in mono. Just why did I go back in mono though? I went back in mono so that I could hear what if I'm making the decision correctly, and it sounds better in mono as well. So now let's listen.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ 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 जरूरी है
Ooh, I like it. I like it a lot. So now I'm gonna do this.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ 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 जरूरी है तेरे जैसे मिलना मुश्किल है अरे हाँ 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 मुश्किल है प्यार में खुश
Again, again, the reason that I've kept it on loop is because when I'm making these decisions that I'm trying to teach you is going to allow us to make better. Just we can keep on making those decisions if it is on loop, which you've already learned in the first module from looping. Now let's go in mono again. Let's hit that bass.
प्यार में खुश रहना
Too loud.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ 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 जरूरी है तेरे जैसे मिलना मुश्किल है अरे हाँ 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 मुश्किल है प्यार
Now, okay, I feel like that is the good balance to have. Now let's listen to it in stereo.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है
And you see that the mono feel allows us to make really acute like decision really fast. But when if you made a really So as you have now noticed that if you make a really good mixing decision in mono, it's going to sound almost twice as good in stereo, right? So now, just for the sake of things, let's unsolo everything, and now we're gonna hear everything in mono but with drums.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ 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 जरूरी है
So I know I've put the horns here, right? No, not this, right? So now let's look at the horns, and it's probably gonna be the shot. Now it's pan to the right.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ हाँ हाँ
Too loud for me. I'm gonna just what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna automate this. See, I've already put an automation while I was composing the song. Oh, I know why. Because I don't want the shots to be affected in the verse part of it, which as you can see is here, right? Verse part I've used the shots, so I want the shots to be different type of loudness, but now I'm feeling that they are too loud here in the
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ 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 जरूरी है तेरे जैसे मिलना मुश्किल है अरे हाँ हाँ हाँ
very nice. And the way that I did it, as you must have learned in the automation more lesson as well, is I press V and the volume comes up. Now the magic, I'm gonna start with mono, but as we are going along we will shift towards stereo.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ 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 जरूरी है तेरे जैसे मिलना मुश्किल है अरे हाँ हाँ मुश्किल
I feel like this guitar on the is too loud, but you're getting the vibe now. It's sounding already better from when we first started. Now let's hit mono.
प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ 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 जरूरी है तेरे जैसे मिलना मुश्किल है अरे हाँ हाँ मुश्किल है प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ हाँ जरूरी है तेरे जैसे मिलना मुश्किल है अरे हाँ मुश्किल है प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ जरूरी है तेरे जैसे मिलना मुश्किल है अरे हाँ मुश्किल है प्यार में खुश रहना जरूरी है अरे हाँ जरूरी है तेरे जैसे मिलना मुश्किल है अरे हाँ मुश्किल है
I like it, and now I'm going. That was just to show you the power of mono versus stereo mixing, which you need to do both, as you can see in the example that I did both. So that is not something that you have to constantly think about, but something that you will start to intuitively do is to shift between mono and stereo at the same time. right? So keep that in mind. And in the next lesson we are going to start setting levels so that we can get to the point where this is negative 8 dB, right? So currently it's standing at negative 7.3, so point 7 dB less of everything, and I will show you exactly how to do that. Let's begin.